Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here today. In our previous webinar, we had an extensive discussion around smart routines where founders from their respective industries walked you through their work and impact they are creating. But there is a commonality between all of us that we all are working for the future of the world by giving more sustainable alternative to the consumers. So let us go into a BioKraft foods. So since apart from being the president of Mumbai Smart Protein Project, I'm also the founder of BioKraft Foods, biotech startup focused on cultivated chicken meat development and transitioning the future of food production. So today we will have a discussion around cultivated meat development and its current landscape. So just a minute. Sure. So just giving a short overview on BioKraft Foods. So BioKraft Foods is a biotech startup that is dedicated to cultivated chicken meat development using advanced technology from in vitro cell culture to 3D bioprinting. We are working to cater consumers who are demanding for a very realistic solution since a very long time to the alternative as alternative to the conventional meat production. So uh, you can see that how we are using 3D bioprinting technology to fabricate the meat structure that we want. So particularly when you talk about chicken meat, we are focusing on the chicken breast and the whole cut meat structure, and are the pioneers of in terms of the cultivated meat development right now in India. And we have a long-term vision where we want to cater this products through B2B channels, and by early 2025 we are targeting that we would commercialize our product. So just going to the core, like why it's needed. So it is predicted that by 2050 global population will cross 10 billion in number, out of which one sixth will be India. So this raises a major question that how we will feed them by maintaining the environment and food security. With over 70% of total population on average being non-vegetarian, makes clear that we simply can't depend on plant-based food. We believe that conventional meat production from animals is not sustainable. By focusing on cultivated chicken meat development, we strive to address the numerous challenges associated with traditional animal agriculture, including animal environmental degradation, animal welfare concerns, and public health. So our goal is to provide a sustainable and ethical solution to meet the growing global demand of food, while reducing the reliance on traditional livestock farming and its associated drawbacks. So cultivated meat is the most realistic solution right now. Furthermore, cultivated meat tackles inefficiency in resource utilization, traditional animal farming, and many more. As traditional animal farming requires vast amounts of land, water, and feed to raise the livestock. So, cultivated meat production can utilize lower resources and while also reducing the reliance on the feed crops. This approach presents an opportunity to optimize resource allocation, making the production of meat more sustainable and economically more efficient. Cultivated meat is made up of intricate and organized structures that mimic the composition and textures of traditional meat products. By carefully arranging the cells, we can produce meat with the desirable qualities such as marbling and tenderness. So, going in depth into how cultivated meat is developed. The cultivated meat production process involves various steps, starting with the cell sourcing, where animal cells such as muscle or fat cells are obtained through a biopsy from living animals without harming them. Then these cells serve as the building blocks for the cultivated meat. Like the second step with the cell expansion. The harvested cells are cultured and proliferated in a nutrition-rich environment. In bioreactors, and microcarriers are used as a scaffold for cell attachment and growth, allowing them to multiply rapidly. So microcarrier is a form of just for upscaling purpose. Not it's not compulsory that microcarriers are used everywhere. Then once one is done, then there is a process for bioprinting that we also aggressively follow. Once an optimally cell density is achieved, the cells are harvested and mixed with the biomaterials to create bioinks. Using 3D bioprinter, these bioinks are deposited layer by layer to construct intricate meat structures with desired textures and composition. Then the fourth phase is maturation. The printed meat constructs undergo a maturation process where they are incubated in bioreactors under controlled conditions. So this allows the cells to differentiate, align, and develop into functional muscle or fat tissues, resembling the conventional meat. And one is done, then it follows the step of harvesting. Once matured, the cultivated meat is harvested, processed, and packaged for the distribution to consumers. So there are some important elements in cultivated meat production. The cultivated meat sector is rife with a multitude of challenges across the four value chain entry points, thereby offering ample opportunity for researchers, startups, and corporates to innovate. Cultivated meat comprises four key technology components that are critical to drive innovation from bench to industrial scale. First is the cell lines. A cell line is a population of cells that are immortalized or stable. At a lab scale, the process of producing cultivated meat begins by isolating starter cells from the animal tissue through a biopsy. These cells are then subjected to serial passaging and immortalized procedures to create the most viable cell line. Then the second thing is the cell culture medium optimization. Around 70% cost on an average is behind cell culture medium when it comes to cultivated meat development. And so having an affordable and good cell media, like specifically serum free media, is very important. So cell culture media is essential for supporting the proliferation and differentiation of cells, and is the biggest cost driver in the cultivated meat value chain. Culture media for cultivated meat needs to be non-animal derived and efficient and cost effective. Right now, mostly people are dependent on the fetal bovine serum, which we know is not a very sustainable process to do so. Then the third process is scaffolding, a porous, edible, or as biodegradable support structure for cellular adherence, and that is meant for the support and direct the growth of the cells and derive muscle tissue structure is very important to get an identical animal derived meat. And the fourth thing is bioprocessing or bioreactor. Engineering novel bioreactor system to aid cells to replicate at astronomical scales within a conducive environment. And so bioreactor is very much designed or customized for each specific purpose to support the cell controlled cell division, sustenance, and terminal differentiation to harvest animal tissue construct at a commercial level. So the initial success of Upside Food is a gradual increase in investor appetite to over 70 cultivated meat and seafood industry startups in say 19 plus countries across five continents by the end of 2022 was a very phenomenal purpose. Nearly 60% of startups have raised external funding, some strikingly with corporate partnership with conventional meat companies such as Tyson, Cargill, Merck, and PHW. In addition, globally 40 plus life science companies have announced their involvement in various integration opportunities across this sector. And as BioKraft Foods, we are very proud to be a part of this ecosystem and lead this in India. So the anticipated market demand for cultivated meat is significantly and is expected to grow rapidly in the coming years. So consumer trends and concerns related to sustainability, animal welfare, and health are the driving the demand for the alternative protein sources. According to various market reports and industry analysis, the global demand of for animal alternatives, particularly meat alternatives, including cultivated meat, is projected to experience a substantial growth. Factors such as increasing population, rising middle class incomes, and urbanization contribute to a growing demand of the sustainable and ethical food options. So, did you know the chicken is reigning supreme as the top choice among Indian consumers when it comes to meat consumption? According to our recent survey, a staggering 56.2% of respondents favored chicken meat over other meat categories. Digging deeper into the consumption habits, we uncovered some fascinating trends. It turns out that 44.2% of individuals enjoy chicken meat 1 to 2 times a week. This highlights the popularity of chicken and its frequency in Indian households, particularly weekly menus. Also, like the survey shows that consumers will prefer cultivated meat if the concerns around the product is well addressed. So when it comes to cultivated meat, consumers are but pretty much concerned about three choices. First, the taste, texture, and the health and safety. Whenever any product is being developed in the lab, people are usually concerned by the hearing the lab word whether the product is safe for the consumption. Is there some artificially induced in that? Whether it will be the safe for the consumption? But cultivated meat is very much safe for the consumption and is more safe as compared to conventional meat in various parameters. So when we talk about the career opportunity, so as these fields continue to expand, there are numerous career opportunity available for individuals interested in cultivated meat development. across various sectors, including research, development, production, regulation, and marketing. Some specific career paths and opportunity in cultivated meat development include: first is R&D scientist, second bioprocess engineer, third is regulatory affairs specialist, and fourth is product development specialist. So there are various sources that comes in the biotech umbrella itself. So like tissue engineering, and then again when you talk about from biotech also food biotechnology. So there are numerous fields that are present right now, and it's not just about any specific field for any student to pursue. If you want, he can do a lot of things in this particular opportunity, and cultivated meat gives that kind of option actually. So, and apart from that, not in India, but there are various educational institutes like UC Davis, Tufts University, NUS Singapore, and NTU Singapore. It offers educational programs and roles related to cultivated meat development. They have a full-time courses that are available. Where you want, if you want, you can make a career in cultivated meat itself. And so this was a short overview on like what cultivated DB development was. And at BioKraft Foods, we are very much excited to bring this in India and lead this in India and other countries as well. So if you have any concerns around cultivated meat, or you want to discuss it anytime, you can just ping me on my mail ID, or you can reach me out. And we are looking to expand our team as well. So it's a great opportunity for candidates as a well qualified in this category as well. And so we are right now in Mumbai, and are currently operating out of that. So we'll be happy to have some really brilliant people in our team as well. And so we will have our Q&A later on. But right now we have Dr. Priyankana as well, who is a esteemed member in the IKP Knowledge Park, and we will take the questions in the last. And I will happy to address your queries, any queries around cultivated meat after this session. So it's handing over to Dr. Priyanka.
Thank you, Kamal, and thank you for such an informative session about cultivation of meat. I'll just share my screen. So, my talk will deal with a more general aspect of smart food innovation because we are very much interested in supporting the startups at IKP. I'm Dr. Priyankana Mukherjee. I'm Chief Manager at IKP Knowledge Park. And so the reason we got interested in this sector was we connected with many startups who wanted to innovate, but we realized that they had a lot of challenges, and I will talk to you about what we are doing. But to begin with, why this sector is important. There are a lot of challenges or issues with current food system, whether it's food crisis, the agricultural land is not increasing, but the population is. How do we address this challenge of under nourishment, malnourishment, and lack of food? Food loss is one of the major challenges that we can address if we build smart food products. Food safety, again, we faced COVID for more than 2 years, and we know this is something we need to address, and how we can make an impact with our new technologies. The unsustainable agricultural practices lead to greenhouse gases and a major climate issue. So how we can address all these issues with that are present with our current food systems. So, what are smart foods? These are innovative food alternatives to traditional animal derived food like meat, egg, dairy. Why they are looking like a promising alternate? Because you can tweak the nutritional value, you can do scientifically, you can do a lot of things to make it nutritious, healthy, and good for planet. These are environmentally sustainable and climate smart, and we are also seeing a lot of growth in this sector, and it is predicted that by 2030 the market size is going to reach about 33,000 crores. So why not, do something about it? And with that mission, we decided to enter into this sector. There are three areas of smart protein innovation. One is cell-based cultivated meat that Kamal just explained to you in detail. What are the technologies, how it is developed. There are microbial proteins and plant-based protein. These new novel food, innovation, they must have a function other than providing energy or nutrients. They should perform a function that cannot be achieved by regular food. A significant IP is what one must look at when they are developing such product, and they should have a specialized application. That will be the USP of a product, which will make it different or differentiator from a regular food market. What are plant-based smart food? These are the crops that are used: peas, mung beans, millet, soy, which are very nutritious ingredients, and they are developed into meat or various other forms like eggs, so that it is more acceptable to the meat eating population. And we are already seeing a lot of analogs being produced, and the global plant-based food market is sized to hit around $30 billion in coming years. Cultivated meat, I don't want to go into much detail because Kamal has already explained to you. These are made in bioreactors like brewing beer, thereby eliminating animal agriculture. And there are starter cells that can be differentiated into different cell types, and a scaffolding element is added to give the texture to the product. Um, Fermentation derived proteins are majorly cultivated to develop flavoring enzymes, flavoring agents, fats, or various ingredients that enhances or improves the sensory or functional or nutritional value of the food. There are various processes, for example, biomass fermentation, and where large scale protein can be extracted efficiently; precision fermentation, where you have specialized cell factories that can produce a very key ingredient. So there are various technologies that we are seeing emerging, and some are already in the market globally. So how can we facilitate that in India? The investments also we are seeing enhanced over a period of few years now. I don't have the data of 2023, but based on my discussions with the policymakers and also startups, I understand that the investments are also going up in this sector. The current market size, this is the 2022 data for plant-based meat overall, is around 351 CR. And if we assume a medium growth of this sector by 2030, it is expected to reach around 12,700 crores. So this is called or discussed as a sunrise sector, which is filled with potential to help mitigate problems ranging from malnutrition to climate challenge. So, but based on my discussions with various startups, what we realized was that there are a lot of challenges that the innovators are facing in terms of infrastructure for small scale R&D work, investment. Sometimes, especially in India, they're not the investors are not very much inclined at the moment to fund smart foods, this sector. But we are seeing a lot of investments internationally. Regulatory is one of the areas that we felt that startups are facing issues because there's lack of clarity on the regulatory aspect of food, whether it's labeling or the nutritional value, how to evaluate these novel food and building trust. So, consumer acceptance is one of the major challenges that the sector is facing, because the consumer is not aware sometimes, especially in the country, about the how they must encourage or start using these food products. There's lack of acceptance at the moment, but we are seeing a change, and we are seeing more and more startups working on modifying or improving their products to make it more acceptable to a larger audience. There are multiple areas of improvement. As I said, the taste, there is room for growth in the flavors, composition, the texture, so that it completely replicates the naturally available food. So that will enhance the acceptance among the consumers, the flavors, appearance, then enhanced protein, iron, or whatever, various nutritions that we can tweak and make it better for consumption. Intact muscles, for example, if there is a lab grown meat, does it look like that? Does it look like a steak? So all those innovations are right now happening. People are using 3D printers and various models to make it scaffolding, to make it appear like a naturally available food. Seafood flavors again requires a lot of improvement in terms of the flavor, the fragrance, and all those things, to make it more acceptable. Cost again is one of the areas that startups must improve in terms of making it more closer pricing to the already available food, because we need to match the pricing so that it becomes more acceptable, and scaling is one of the areas that one must look at. So what we realize, that there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of scope for startups to improve their product. So there is a need for a smart protein hub, or a space where we can bring students, entrepreneurs, investors, industry leaders together in crafting the future of food. So that's the reason we decided to establish IKP Center for Smart Proteins, and sustainable material is something that we are also interested in, and it is located in Bangalore. So we are developing, it's almost ready, an infrastructure R&D facility for smart protein innovation. We are also developing resources. For example, we are getting legal experts, regulators, funders, and various other, experts to guide our startups who are working on developing such products. And also, we are building partnerships with Good Food Institute and various other corporate partners to join hands with us to, uh, help the startups build new food products. So, a little bit about IKP Knowledge Park. We are a 25 years old organization. We are India's first premier science park, which is handled by privately, and we are a non-for-profit organization. Our headquarter is in Hyderabad. We have presence in Bangalore, and the Smart Protein Center is coming in Bangalore. In Hyderabad, we have a 200-acre space where we host large companies, large biopharma companies, and we, apart from the facility, we run a lot of programs. For example, funding programs or legal advice. So we have a team of 5 lawyers who support startups with any legal matters. We collaborate with government agencies to implement various funding schemes. For example, BIG, where we have collaborated with BIRAC to implement those funding schemes. So we are connected with various government organizations to facilitate and help startups build products faster. We are located in 8 cities. Majorly in Hyderabad and Bangalore, and a few cities across Karnataka. We have supported more than 14,000 startups so far directly, and also we have touched around 12,000 startups across the country through our services, through our schemes. 15,000 jobs are created by our startups, which are directly created by our startups, and more than 60,000 jobs have been created indirectly by our startups, and we have raised around 300 CR from government agencies, private bodies to support the innovation ecosystem. We have incubators in Hyderabad. We are interested in various, areas like One Health, sustainability, and we also have an analytical facility that helps, that provides supports to startups developing, doing for testing requirements, or in pharma and biopharma sector. In Bangalore, we have a hardware incubator where people can build hardware products using our prototyping facility, and also a BioNEST that complements the requirement for people to test their devices or diagnostic kits. But additionally, now we are coming up with a smart protein center. Now, apart from facilities, as I said, we also run funding programs. BIG is one of the funding program that we run. It is basically given to startups who want to develop their idea to a POC level. The funding level is around 50 lakhs. We also handle BioRec seed fund and leaf fund. Seed fund is around 30 lakhs, and leaf fund around 1 CR and more. We also run Nidhi Prayas scheme, which is a hardware prototyping grant given to startups developing products that are required for various industries, but it should be a hardware product, and the funding amount is around 10 lakhs. We, as I said, we have a facility in Bangalore, and we started our operation in 2018. We have 1,000 square foot wet lab with lab benches, and more than 50 lab equipment and ISO clean room. We have supported more than 40 innovators directly at our facility. The Smart Protein Center, we already have a few, companies who are using our facility like Fantastic and Demolish Foods, but we are engaging with more and more startups to see how we can support them and how they can utilize the facility that we are building for them. So the center is located in Kormangla. Just it's an expansion of the current lab, located in heart of the city, connected, very well connected with investors, vendors, experts, advisor. The pricing is very reasonable. We have two ISO 7 clean room to work, for people to work on cell lines and tissue culture, and equipment for smart protein work, homogenizer, blender, pasteurizer, testing equipment. And I would invite more and more startups, if they're interested in taking up or use our facility, please reach out to me and write to me for any requirement that you may have. We can see how we can support you. We have partnership with Good Food Institute, but we also have partnerships with organization that have facilities that can be accessed by the startups who are incubating with us. So Jyoti Institute is one of the university that is interested, or they have facilities to support food innovation, and we have collaboration with them, and the high-end equipment that are available at Jyoti can be accessed by our incubators. So I'll end my talk by just giving you what we have learned while working with medtech, devices, startups. Um, why startups fail? Majority of, like 42% of startups, they fail because the product is not needed. 29% fail because they run out of money. Pricing problems and various other things, marketing, legal issues, are a smaller part that contributes to a failure, but majorly is knowing your customer, what your customer wants. And we have seen many startups, they have reached success because they understood their customer, they understood their needs, and they shaped their product according to the need of the consumer or the customer. So I would say that in this sector also, where you will have consumers who are your regular consumers, because food is something you need at daily basis. Just understand your consumer, your customer, so that your product is acceptable by a large population. So, with that, I'll end here. What we hope that our facility at IKP could help startups build products that are indistinguishable in taste, with comparable cost, and environmental friendly and healthy. Healthy. So, thank you all for your attention. Open for questions. Thank you. I can't hear you, Kabul.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the great presentation, and I hope it was very much beneficial for students as well. And that we have got a couple of questions, so I will take my part later on. Let's start with your part first. So there's a person who is asking, like, how do you evaluate the technical feasibility and market potential of startups that are involved in smart protein? Because since it's a very nascent stage for every smart protein startups, and we are seeing
Yes.
a very elite adoption. So how do you evaluate in that category?
Yeah. So, we work with experts, but I would say we are also learning at the moment. It's a new sector for us. We have expert panels, and we have support from Good Food Institute, who have been helping startups, and they have been working a lot in this sector, so we learn from them. But I would say the evaluation that we do is more or less same as what how we evaluate other sectors. There's no drastic difference, but right now we are in a phase where we are also learning, and hopefully we'll learn and get better at it. Thank you.
Great. So we have another question, like, what opportunities does your incubator offer for students interested in getting involved in smart protein startups?
So, we have companies who are working on smart protein innovation, and they always look out for people who can, intern with them and learn the technology. They are also interested in expanding the scope across, various levels. And what you could do probably is reach out to them, or through me, you can reach out to them and take up an internship, so that you get first hand experience or knowledge of working in this sector, and see if you can innovate either along with that startup, or idea of your own.
Definitely, that's very important. And so, like continuing through that question. So, for an aspiring student, who aspiring entrepreneur specifically, who wants to get into domain, but he doesn't know really, like, where should he start from? Like, where should he, if he has certain idea as well, how to validate that? So, like, is
Yeah.
there a
So
specific training program or educational program, like within your incubator, like specifically designed for students, that will help them understand their idea and get a brief idea of how to proceed with the entrepreneurship?
Yeah. So, the reason we started this center, it's a small center, is to facilitate those ideas to be developed and people can do R&D. We have, team at IKP who can guide them with various technology. But at the end of the day, if someone wants to evaluate or test those ideas, technologies are something that you can learn. That's not something that dictates your innovation. If you have a great idea and you want to test those ideas, our facility is like a perfect space for them to test those ideas, where we can give them initial training, but and then maybe funding. We are planning to run funding for innovators who early stage innovators who want to test and validate their ideas. So we are doing all of that. So people who have these ideas they want to test, please reach out to us. We will see how we can help you, either at our space or through the experts that we are connected with. So this IKP center is going to do exactly that, because right now people don't know what is the path. So the first step would be to reach out to us and see what all offerings we have, and then we can see how we can support you.
Definitely, and even you can highlight the Nidhi EIR grant as well. That that helps students specifically at student level if they want to validate their idea and highlight that, and they want some support from that. So I think Nidhi Prayas and Nidhi EIR is one of the most supporting grants right now for the
Yeah.
students.
Yeah, and also the government is very much interested in the sector, so we will see new schemes being launched, for students as well, like we have done for medical device and diagnostic through Spursh scheme, where we get students get first-hand experience working with clinicians and finding out what are the problems and how they can develop new products to solve those problems. We can have I'm sure we will have something similar in this sector also.
Definitely. And so we have a question. So I just highlight that. Do you have facilities for mycoprotein production? Like if
Right now,
someone
we
is
don't,
interested,
but
yeah,
as I said, we are expanding the scope of the space, and it will all depend on the kind of users we have. Right now, there is nobody who is doing micro related work. But if there is an interest, and if there is, there are a few startups who are interested, we'll be happy to support them.
definitely. And so just a last quick question for you. Like, what advice would you give to students who are passionate about smart protein industry or even in entrepreneurship? So like, what is the best advice for them?
So the best advice would be to see what are the gap areas, like where a new product is needed. Do that research. That is the first step, and then see if you're really interested in solving that problem. So find a problem, find a gap area where you can innovate. And technologies, as I said, they are just tools. You can always learn, you can always develop. You should not rely on technologies. You can hire someone to do that. But what is the problem you're solving? Is it helping the customer? Is it helping the consumer? If you have identified that, then sky's the limit for you. There's no reason for you to stop then. And you just can take the next step and start developing that product.
And definitely, smart protein is like such a domain where there are many untapped things, but just you have to
Yes.
identify that thing, and bringing it to a scale is something that is very challenging in the smart protein domain. But again, if someone is able to crack that thing, so again, the smart protein is the next big thing that is going to happen in
Yeah.
future.
So, Kamal, we are looking at that aspect also. Apart from the R&D, small scale R&D facility, we are also looking at large scale manufacturing, biomanufacturing support system, either through IKP or through other organization. We are in touch with various. So, we want to become like a one spot solution for all these, innovators, so that they don't have to go to 10 places to find out the answers, we will do that for them. So the idea is to provide a comprehensive support, whether it's regulatory, whether it's legal, whether it's early advice, is what we want to do for this sector.
Definitely, and that, and I think we have no more question after that. But definitely, you explained all the questions very well. I think most of the questions around smart routines are explained. I will just take a few questions, and then we can wrap this up. So we got a question that the major challenge behind cultivated meat development is the price point right now, and so how I am particularly mitigating that. So uh, on an average, 70% production of cultivated meat, the cost behind that is behind the cell culture media that is being used. And we identified this gap a long time back also. And, I'm proud to able to say that we are able to reduce our COGS by 90% in terms of that. And right now, in terms of our product pricing, we are able to match the pricing of B2B sector particularly. And that's something that very few startups has been able to done. But it's like, when it comes to biotechnology or even biotech sector, we have been taught that there are certain rules that has to be followed. If you talk about any cell culture, there has to be certain steps that has to be followed. But it's not necessary. It's upon the mitigation. How are you able to mitigate the whole thing? Then you are able to identify the gaps and you are able to eliminate certain steps. So by doing that, and following a very minimalistic approach, we are able to achieve that kind of price point. And we are very much looking forward to you can get it more economically viable. But right now we are able to achieve the price competitiveness that most uh, companies are not able to do so right now, or are struggling to do right now. But in future, most of the companies will be able to do so. It's just a matter of time. Then, okay, and the second question we have got is how is it scalable when you say you would create scaffolding structured meat production? So, in our case, when we are doing it, so when it involves bioprinting, and definitely right now bioprinting has certain scalability limit right now. But what we are doing is we are working more on an automation model where where we are automating this whole process where directly the feed will be direct supplied to the bioprinter and this whole things can be done. It already has been done by stakeholder foods as well. And so we are not doing some conventional scaffolding approach. It's more like making it a whole in a bioreactor and directly printing it. So we are able to optimize and mitigate that thing as well. And so in terms of scalability, we are definitely looking forward to it. But first our target is to achieve the MVP that we require, and we have planned our scale up in that manner that once we have our product in place, we will do our scalability also. So scalability is also sorted in our case in that manner. And I think even I think this question can be taken by Dr. Priyankana as well. Like since she's also working with so many smart protein startups, so how they are able to mitigate the scalability question. I think that first question should be must be raised by you as well when you are evaluating them.
Yes, yes. So, there are many manufacturing partners right now that startups go to, but yeah, there is a demand for them from them, regarding a facility where they can do a pilot scale production or high end manufacturing. So we are looking at that, and we are also discussing with government organization to support that activity. But right now they are going through various partners who are either in India and some abroad.
And definitely, I think the one core gap that even I see is, the lack of CDMO partners in India because, startups can't be in a capex business. We know that if you are in a capex, if you get involved in a capex thing, then your, product development or your R&D will take the backseat, and you just can't be do that. And even, setting up a bio like what IKP is doing for the smart protein companies is is really applaudable because we know that it's not easy to set up a biotech lab space for itself also because since I am facing that problem also because I know that I what is the challenges in setting up your own biotech facility. And with it just can be addressed just with the help of the government support and the incubators, and if everyone come together, because it's just not a one person thing. This whole game, it's all about collaborations, I think. And so every startup and every student should also see from that perspective, like how well they can collaborate, how they can utilize the existing resources in that manner. I think that's one of the biggest thing that should be done, and in that manner.
Sure. And I would like to invite, the audience today to reach out to us and see what we are doing. I may not have covered everything, so reach out to us and see. And we can also offer our services based on your requirement, catering to your needs. So we are very flexible that way. We are also learning from all the startups, so it'll be great if you could connect to us and also guide us in how we can support you.
Definitely, we both are learning from each other. I think I don't see any other questions, so I think we should wrap this webinar here. And but definitely before wrapping up, I think like just advice for students as well who are in the early journey of entrepreneurship, or even they are planning so. So if there is any support needed, and if they are looking to get support, and from the incubator is the best place to nurture your idea, because they help you from the ideation to the commercialization thing. So it's really, because it's more like everyone has the idea, but it's all about the execution you plan for. How do you execute your idea? And incubation is a great place to first evaluate your idea. And definitely, if you have that thing in a smart protein, you can contact Dr. Priyankana and IKP as well.
Sure. So
Yes.
thank you all. Have a great weekend.
Yes, and thanks, Dr. Priyankana, for joining us today. And
Thanks, Kamal, for giving me this opportunity.
yes, definitely. And we have a successful chain of web series right now, and and now we have one more webinar left for the next week, where we will be particularly focusing on the career opportunities in alternative protein, and how can one can make a career in that. And so I think I recommend everyone to please attend that also in the next time. And so thanks for everyone for your time. Thanks for joining today.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you
just
so
end our
much.
webinar here.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Thanks, Dr.